blue skies, the world without any competition. You launch your company and boom, you're out there. Well, it's not called blue skies, it's called blue ocean. You have blue ocean, you also have the concept of 0 to 1. We're going to talk about both those concepts in this segment of our class. This is probably of all the different kind of business models, I think this is by far the most exciting. It's also the highest risk, and it's got to be a giant roller coaster ride from beginning to end. If you're an adrenaline junkie and an entrepreneur, this is the model you want to check out. It takes some work, and you have to sit down and really educate yourself a lot to dive into this, because this is high risk waters, and there's no sharks there because of the fact that nobody wants to be there or even knows that this patch of fresh blue ocean even exists. These are about companies that have long engaged in head-to-head competition. They call this segment of the world red ocean business model. Red ocean means that the sharks are ripping each other apart and there's blood in the water. Oh my gosh, people fight for a competitive advantage. They battle over market share. They struggle for differentiation from this versus this. Look at us, we're so much better than them. That being said, it's incredible because in fact, if you could find a place out there in the ocean without any other sharks, you can beat a lone shark, you can even be a guppy for all that matters and just grow into being a big shark. Okay, but they're fighting head to head often results in nothing but the red ocean of rivals fighting over a shrinking profit pool. So what strategy is likely to be profitable in the future? Something new. In this case, you have two professors, Professor Kim and Mogborn. They argue about the lasting success comes from creating blue oceans, a new segment of the entire ocean where nothing's out there. The moves that they coined the term of value innovation creates leaps in values both for the firm and for the buyers in the process, creating an entirely new market, a new profitable demand that is outside the realm of the other market that currently exists. Groundbreaking theory. And by the way, it's nice to sit down and write a book and claim, we're in charge, we invented this concept. They didn't invent it. This has been around a long time, since human beings existed, since we invented fire. Oh wait, we didn't invent it, we adapted it from a lightning strike on a tree. So that being said, you go down historically, look on the history of war, which is an awful topic to talk about, except you went from having swords beating on pieces of metal into having bow and arrows that sat down and the metal deflected off of it, but you came up with a crossbow. The crossbow then punched a hole right through it and killed the person on the inside. Oh my gosh. Then you sat down and then getting guns, it became even worse. And now we have who knows what kind of weapons out in the battlefield, but we're always looking for innovation, something new in that world. You look on the aspect of horse and carriage, we came up with a vehicle with no horses on it. And then we called the thing that runs with horsepower for a measurement. It's incredible. And now we're looking at cars that do almost everything but sing and dance. And I think there's a couple of those on TikTok as well. So they really come up with two books they came out with, and really they're more about documenting how this process does, but they outline some very specific things that you, if you want to dive into this world of the blue ocean strategy, you really want to pay attention to, because they give you some good pointers in the process you go through. There's also another book out there that is 0 to 1. It's a little bit more cerebral, but I'll tell you why this one is worthwhile reading as well. The Blue Ocean Strategy, it's a simultaneous of looking at the differentiation of your product from what's existing out there, and a change in the cost because of something brand new. Also a change in the aspect of the market space because it's uncontested, because nobody's there. And if you dive into this area because nobody's there, it makes the competition irrelevant in the process. Here's just a couple that they claim that adopted the blue ocean model. Apple. Think about Apple. The history of Apple is nothing more than a continuation of Steve Jobs diving into new market, new market, new market, new market, the whole process. When Steve Jobs passed and it changed to somebody else, if you look on the strategy, you're not seeing a lot of massive innovation. You're not seeing jumps into markets. You're seeing added services. You're seeing enhancements on existing iPhones, but you have that creative mix. It's a little bit gone now. Amazon. Amazon didn't exist. We had to go to the store to go buy our appliances. We had to go to the store to buy a book. We had to go to the library to borrow a book. The idea of actually buying things online, that really Jeff Bezos saw the changes that's happening out there, saw this massive market increase on the internet, and said, I'm going to start a bookstore. After him and his wife went to a book conference, that's the first time they ever had any training about how to sell a book. 3 months after they started, they had to go rent a warehouse to house all the books you're shipping across the planet. And now, if you write a book, you have to list it on Amazon because Amazon sells 60% of all the books on planet Earth. Tata, talk about an innovator in the automotive industry. They're bringing inexpensive, cheap cars. Do I dare say that word cheap? Yes, I do. Cheap cars to the masses, especially in India and throughout all of Asia. $3,000 for a car that lasts 5 to 10 years. What an incredible product. Stitch Fix, you too can have your own designer sit down there and choose your clothing for you and have it custom fitted for you if you use Stitch Fix. By the way, it's true. It's a great service, and they have designers on hand standing by just for you to sit down and customize your wardrobe. Salesforce, they took a product called the CRM and they changed it totally. It was a dead product out there, and boom, by their process, they changed the whole environment and they became a huge competitor. Zappos, talk about a strange company. We'll talk about that later on. But Zappos, how do you sell shoes over the internet? You know you have to sit down and try those shoes on. Zappos found a way to do it. Yellowtail, they crashed into the market of wine. And after they did, everybody else was whining because of the fact that this low-cost wine retailer sat there and crashed the market. And then all of a sudden they're bringing a product that is comparable to products 4 and 5 times their amount, but with a different methodology of manufacture and distribution. Really, it's a different way of thinking. Create something where there is not a market today, leap into the next generation, into a world with no competition. Sociologically, it's actually about moving humanity forward instead of competing with what's already there. So on a philosophical basis, it's really kind of cool. And yes, it's blue skies, sunshine, and everything else, except we call it blue ocean. Take care.